Yo mama.
Hello, hunters, and welcome back to the Spicy Ramen Podcast, a Destiny podcast where me and members of the Last Wolf Pack just chat about whatever is currently relevant. As you all may know, we're at the end of a season, so I was struggling to even come up with a Destiny-related topic, and then a stroke of genius hit me that we should just talk about the Game Awards because Destiny is nominated. So first of all, thanks for tuning in. And you may remember Nate from last time. Nate, say hello.
Howdy.
And then also we have first time on the podcast, hopefully a regular, someone who has been through a whole bunch of our, live streams and raid videos and stuff. So you guys will recognize him. And that is Jacob, Grand Tortoise. Say hello.
Hi.
All right, he's the one who said "Yo, mama" at the beginning. So, okay. Anyway, so let's just get right into it. The Game Awards 2022. I mean, it's always just kind of a fun time to have a casual conversation about how we felt about video games this year and games in general. So, do you guys want to start with the big one? I mean, let's talk about Game of the Year. Let me pull up a list of the nominations on the computer over here. What are your guys' pick?
I mean, I'm not playing many, but I like Elden Ring right now. I know a lot of people will probably say God of War, but
What about you, Jacob?
Elden Ring.
Yeah, I think so too. It's
Like the one I think will win? Elden Ring. The one that, I just think like
there was a whole lot of like
irrelevant.
hypes and memes when Elden Ring came out, and I'm not saying that with God of War. You know what I'm saying? Like there was all those memes like all the guys are playing Elden Ring, so they can't hang out with their girlfriends and stuff. There's all that stuff going on,
right.
and you don't see any of that with God of War. So I think Elden Ring probably will get it.
Elden Ring definitely took the gaming community by storm, and for good reason. I mean, if we look at it, it essentially took everything that made Breath of the Wild a good open world game, and I don't just say that as a Zelda fanboy. Like that's just what they did, right? What Breath of the Wild did so well that other open world games struggle with is when you see a unique looking area in Breath of the Wild or a cool, sort of site. Every time you go there, then you do actually find something. You find something of worth. You find a shrine or you find a treasure, something like that. And Elden Ring does that same thing, but in that extremely brutal
It doesn't
world.
have weapon durability.
Exactly. That's true. It takes out the worst part
Breath
about
of the
it.
Wild would be one of my favorite games ever if weapon durability wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Tears of the
I
Kingdom
know
doesn't
you
have
can
it.
do stuff to make them last longer and everything, but it really hurts me to find an ancient knight sword and it be broken after 2 battles. And
It's like your character, like what you.
Yeah, there's no
use of this
developing it. The
Yeah.
armor is the only thing that matters, and that sucks.
Yeah, I agree. They should take that out for sure.
Did you guys ever fight things in Elden? I don't know if you guys. I found a couple times you fight a villager in Elden Ring, and then it would turn into one of the bears, just out of nowhere. That thing was crazy when that happened.
Oh yes,
Elden Ring just
yes.
had so many unique encounters. One of my favorite things was the knights that only came out at nighttime.
Oh yeah.
I love those.
The Knight Cavalry.
Absolutely, one of my favorite
That
things.
armor set, you get it? It's probably one of my favorite Elden Ring sets.
It's so awesome. And you could choose to fight it any way. And I loved going head to head on my horse against their horse like that. It was so I remember riding the horse having the battle against the very first boss. And I was like, this
Tree
is literally
Sentinel?
what I wanted a game. It's where I can do this kind of fantasy. I thought it was really cool.
It's the only game I have never hated the horseback riding on. It is
Same.
not nearly as garbage. I think Shadow of the Colossus would be such a cool game for me. I love it, but I could not stand the camera angle and the horseback riding. It was so unimaginably bad that it broke, even though it was a fantastic story, because I watched a Let's Play through. Because I couldn't do it. Like, it literally hurt my soul to try to keep my camera angle on the bosses.
I definitely agree with you there, Jacob. I tried that recently, actually. Not recently, it was more like last year, and that was a huge pain point for me.
I got it when it was on, it came out on PS4?
It came out
was
on,
like,
yeah, the remaster, yeah.
It was like $20, so I bought it, and I played it, and I was like, I got through, like, the first three bosses that I fought. And it was pretty cool, but like...
And I think...
The other thing was the boss fights lasted 30 minutes, and I couldn't...
Oh yeah, and there was a lot of just climbing. I think a lot of, like, what you guys were saying alludes to the fact that the best part about Elden Ring, to me, was two things, right? One, the world itself felt very, very alive. There were so many areas, and you always had to watch your back because, of course, we know it's Souls-like. There's combat difficulty all over the place. But the second thing is that the combat variety, I mean, you can beat the game in so many different ways. I mean, it's an unlimited amount of different playstyles, really.
Yeah, there's like, what, 6 or 7 different endings?
Yeah, there are, yeah. I believe it's 6. There's a lot. There's a lot. And of course, like always, it's a Souls game, so the narrative is not really thrown in your face. It's more like you piece it together yourself, which is going to be it's a hit or miss for everybody. I tend to like that kind of storytelling, at least for that kind of game, because due to the fact you play as your own character,
it's more realistic, you know.
Yes.
Like you go and find it's like an actual real life thing.
It feels like your character is making their own story for sure.
For sure.
So I do.
Like,
oh, go ahead, Jacob.
I know. I know it came out pretty early on too, because it came out like the beginning of April.
It was March.
March, yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it's hard for a game to stay like super relevant, but I still see people playing it and trying it for the first time and doing stuff. I know that happen all the time, but like, I think it just went on sale this week too, on Steam. And so I think like Danny almost didn't buy it because of the price point. It was $60. I mean, he did get it, but I don't know what it's actually selling for on Steam now. But I feel like that'll get a bunch of people to play, and it may not be like, I don't know. It's the only game I've seen that like gets a 90, like what it had like a 95% like rating.
Yep, 95 on Metacritic.
And like it's been out since March, and it's December almost, and it still has a 95% rating. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's up there, man. It's in like.
I mean, like, and that's a lot of people that play. It's not like it's like some like cult classic game that people just love, right?
Yeah.
It's actually.
What's God of War got right
well,
now?
first of all, real quick, I just want to touch on. I accidentally did say March earlier. It was late February, right before March, because it was the week the Witch Queen.
February.
Yeah, it was the week the Witch
Even
Queen came
longer.
out. Yep.
That's right. It was because I beat the campaign and then we played Elden Ring again.
As for what God of War is setting on Metacritic wise, I'm not sure. I know it's high. It definitely has universal acclaim. Katie, my wife's in here. She'll look it up real quick. But it's worth mentioning something that does worry me a bit. Now, I wouldn't be mad if God of War won or anything. God knows my wife's a huge fan, but
It went down a little bit. It's at a 94.
it's at a 94. So
It was at a 98.
so the reality though is there is definitely going to be some recency bias in the voting, because whether we mean to or not as humans, when you experience something like hot and new, like you become a bit you're more attached to it in that moment, right? Like,
yeah, you either vote it like super great or you destroy it.
Exactly.
Like,
and so God of War
those
just
initial reviews are what, like, it's like a death ball.
Exactly.
Like, it just rolls, and then people just go with it, even if they don't play it.
Yep. And God
I
of
mean,
War.
like, I haven't played a God of War game in I mean, since like PS2. So
They're completely different.
Yeah, and to your point, Jacob, it came out rolling with really hot reviews. So there's of course the factor that a lot of people, especially PlayStation fans, are going to vote for right out the bat. But of course, the other factor is God of War is only available on PlayStation, so you're missing out on a whole bunch of votes from other.
and that does.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, can it really be called Game of the Year if only a select few people get to play it?
I mean, I think it just comes down to they don't really look at it that way. I mean, Zelda won in 2017, and I think it definitely was unanimous that it should
I mean,
have.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, it's
But
kind
a
of
Switch is also a little bit
criteria.
different, right? Like, I feel like a Switch is not necessarily a console. It's like its own little thing
That's true.
because it's a handheld gaming system that you can play as a console. So it's more like I treat it as like there's always been PlayStation, there's always been Xbox. And like even if we exclude like the random Nintendo things, like once Game Boy came out, like my thought was always there's the handhelds and then there's the consoles.
Yeah, like everybody has a Game Boy, even if they're an Xbox fan or a PlayStation fan.
Right, exactly. So like, and I mean all of us at one point have, I mean I don't have a Switch currently, but I've had a Switch and a console. I've never had a PlayStation and an Xbox.
You same, yeah.
I have had a PlayStation, Xbox, and PC all at one time before.
Well, I mean, I had a PS4 and my Xbox like 360 just because I didn't sell it. But like, I never like bought a PS5, kept up with all the games. Bought a Xbox One, kept up with all the games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like playing all of the games because I mean, normal people can't afford it.
I just don't have the time to do it either.
It's worth
That's
saying
why I
that.
like Steam for the most part because even if they're exclusives, sometimes they'll still put them on Steam at some point.
It is worth saying that we definitely shouldn't underestimate the Sony fans though, because God of War did win Game of the Year in 2018 as well, and The Last of Us Part 2 won in 2020 as
Didn't
well.
they remake The Last of Us 2 on PS5?
They remake Last of Us Part
The
1,
Last of
but
Us 1?
it's not. I don't think it's nominated for anything.
Oh.
Yes, it is.
It is nominated for something. Okay, well,
It's nominated for something, but I don't think it'll win.
we'll scroll through and figure it out. So, but as for the other games, I know we've mentioned God of War and Elden Ring a lot, which it makes those are the two. Like right, like the one of those two is gonna win. It's just come down to it.
Is Xenoblade 3 nominated?
Yes, Xenoblade 3 is nominated.
It should be. Xenoblade 2 is one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah, and by all accounts, people love 3 as well. Stray is nominated, Horizon Forbidden West, and I haven't heard of this game, A Plague Tale Requiem. That's my first time hearing about
It's a
that.
horror game. It's
I think
pretty
Bailey was
Horror
playing
game?
that.
Okay. So yeah, I
It's
mean,
a little variety.
I think if you had, if you pinned me down and had to ask me, I would unanimously throw it behind Elden Ring. I feel like Elden Ring is one of the games that, these other games are fantastic. They are really great games. Could have won Game of the Year any year, I think. But Elden Ring is one of those games that really, to me, reminds me of Breath of the Wild, in that a game like this only comes around once in a while. I feel like it's more like game of the last 5 years, more so than just game of this year. But that's just, that could just be that it's the right formula for me. It's everything I like in a game.
But that's fair.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that way. I mean, Dark Souls used to be pretty niche. Elden Ring had sold is outselling GTA 5.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was referring to a while ago. It's like Elden Ring was such a big boom. There was memes going on. People who never played it were giving it a chance. And I'm sure you guys remember people who never played it gave it a chance, and some of them were like, "This game is too hard. I don't understand this. This is just crap design," and they would quit.
I'm sure.
And so you had all that group of people, and then you'd have the people that actually played the game, and they're like, "This game is really cool."
Well, they made it a lot more accessible.
Now I'm going to go play all the Souls games.
Yeah, that's why people didn't play Dark Souls though, is because of the hype. Like, most people who play Dark Souls games play all of them that they have access to.
Yes.
Right? Like, we didn't have access to Demon Souls, Nate, but we played all of them, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We beat them all.
Elden Ring became.
It's just it's a style of games that it's its own thing. Like
I
they're
just
literally
know,
called
like-
Souls-like games.
I've always been like, I always liked doing it together, but Elden Ring was the one that I liked actually doing it by myself just because how big and expansive it was.
Absolutely.
But I also felt like that's where I really found like the Dark Souls rhythm, I guess, where I'd lose to a boss, but I'd learn how to correct my moves each run. So I knew I'd know what the boss is going to do. I know when to attack, not to get greedy. It was like a learning, and I love that in the game where I just learned how to do it.
I personally also feel like Elden Ring was way more accessible than the other Souls games. Some people are going to love that, some people are going to hate that, but when it comes down to it, it sold better because it being open world was an opportunity for if you're getting curb stomped by a boss or you're stuck in an area, dude, just go explore and level up. Whereas in previous, as you're playing through Bloodborne is an incredibly small world. It's interconnected though, and it's beautiful because it works in that space. But because it's such a small world, right? If you're stuck on a boss, you're stuck. You're stuck.
It's all in a straight line.
Yep. So
Well, also, the best way to get materials and level up were in the dungeons or whatever.
yes, yeah, the chalice.
And it
dungeons.
never explains how to really use that's right, the chalice things. That's what they're called. But you get some of the chalice things, but you don't get the first one till three or four bosses in.
Yep. And some of those first bosses are rough.
But it still doesn't explain how to use the things really. So you do it once and you think oh, okay, that may be it. And so I never went back to the chalice dungeons until the late game.
Oh yeah, if I hadn't
That's
tried,
the best way to level up your weapons and get more runes and all that stuff. And I was like,
if I hadn't went for platinum, I never would have understood that system at all.
oh yeah.
So
But I mean, I think if we exclude the part where, now you can look up things. I mean, the difference is Elden Ring is open world and has 200 bosses. I think it was 238 or something crazy like
oh
that.
yeah, it's a ton.
That's insane.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
done.
And I mean,
There is
some of them
so
are the
much
same.
you can do.
Some of them are the same, but there's 180 unique bosses. That's crazy.
It is. It is.
With their own moveset, own design, and even some of the repeat ones, they have different movesets.
Or there's two of them.
Yeah, or there's multiples, so it's a different fight. It's not the same thing.
And before we move on, I feel like we need to specifically mention two boss fights as well, because I think they were just a masterclass in game design, and that is Star Scourge Radon and Melania. I just
Some people never even found Radon.
yeah.
Think about that.
He's not required for the game.
Yeah, he's not required.
Exactly. Think about that.
Neither's
Some people
Melania.
never even fought him.
If
Yeah, and I mean they're optional bosses.
If Melania was required, I think a lot of people would be mad. She is brutal. She is unbelievably hard. Very, very hard. Especially if you go in there under level 100. She will humble you quick. Very difficult boss.
Not if you're a parry king.
That's true. Radon, I feel like, more so than difficult, he was just amazing to see. He goes up into the sky.
So wholesome.
Yeah.
He was just grandiose.
Yes. He goes up into the sky like a freaking Valstrax from Monster Hunter and slams all the way down onto you.
On his little horse.
On Leonard. His horse is named Leonard.
And you know what? Melania is my least favorite boss because of what she did.
Yeah, she's the reason he's like that. Yeah.
Because they're siblings.
Yeah. Yep.
But hey, I love that. The coolest thing I thought was that if you interacted with the NPCs, you could summon all of them.
Yes.
So you could have Alexander. You could have Blot.
It was like
there's
this.
some other.
It was.
But there was a ton of NPCs you could summon.
It was like this epic battle, on a
Yeah.
in the desert. Basically, it was really cool.
Yeah, which I mean it made sense because of what you were doing. It was a parade or something.
Yeah.
It was a festival.
What it was his own men wanted to kill him because they felt bad for the mental state he was left in.
He was a good guy though. Like he didn't do anything bad. His mind just went away because of Scarlet Rot.
Yep, the rot killed his
so
mind.
sad.
Yep. Yeah, it is pretty tragic, and he loved his horse so much that he made anti-gravity magic to where he wouldn't crush his tiny horse.
I know, and it's so cute.
Leonard!
You can see, like, he's actually floating above it.
Leonard deserves better.
He's not actually sitting on it. He's riding above it.
We should have had
You even see Radon's legs.
Yeah.
They're worn off because he just let them drag just so he could ride Leonard.
we should have had the option to replace the freaking torrent horse with Leonard after we beat Radon.
I want to replace it with Radon.
Oh yes, just ride him around. Okay, so we better move on to the next category. I'm not going to touch on all these because so many of them are literally just Elden Ring and God of War, Elden Ring and God of War. But, of course, I do want to touch on some that are relevant to this podcast, which, of course, is the best ongoing game category.
Final Fantasy 14.
We have Final Fantasy 14, we have Fortnite, Genshin Impact, Apex Legends, and, of course, Destiny.
Genshin Impact is the most overrated game ever made.
Oh yeah, it's a gotcha game. Like no
Besides
hate.
maybe Fortnite.
Like if you want to play it, you guys, that's fine. But it is a microtransaction heavy game, and I don't think a game like that deserves to really prevail here. I do actually think Genshin will win though, because they are literally bribing people to vote for them by giving away free skins if you vote. So. That said,
Where's my silver at, Bungie?
I'm just thrilled that Destiny is in this category because I do think it deserves it, especially with as much like negative energy as it feels like the game gets sometimes. What we play here every week on Destiny is a truly unique experience, and whether you love it or hate it, it's something that you don't have available anywhere else. I mean, it's a sci-fi first-person shooter.
Is Destiny the oldest out of all those?
Yes.
I think Final Fantasy 14 started.
14 came out before Destiny, but 14 didn't have the online the whole time. So. I think it came out in like 2015, which like technically, yeah, it's older than Destiny 2, but I mean, you know.
It actually started, if I can get it to pull up.
Yeah, let's make sure we know for sure.
I'm just genuinely curious. Came out. Apparently it came out in 2013.
Oh, dang.
Because it tried in 2010 and it failed.
Oh, okay.
Genshin?
Final Fantasy.
Oh, Final Fantasy.
So that brings a question. What do you?
People play
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Yeah, the original game shut down in 2012 and was followed by an alpha test that came on. It doesn't say when it actually went
When it actually launched?
online. But it says it was an MMORPG.
So maybe it was
From the
just a separate
beginning.
launch and it was online only. I don't know. But comment down below if you're a Final Fantasy player and you know that. What do you guys think Destiny's chances are here?
What is it?
What do you guys think Destiny's chances are here?
Low because of the community.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably going to go to either Apex, Fortnite, or Genshin, really. But Final Fantasy may win
I think
too.
it'll probably be Apex.
It could be, yeah.
Probably, or, I mean, I don't know, Fortnite is just still really popular.
That's true. On
Even though it doesn't necessarily need to be. And it's been around for a while. Like, it's kind of crazy.
MMO Tracker, I will say that Destiny, Final Fantasy, and World of Warcraft are the top 3 most played MMOs. So, like, it fluctuates whether Destiny or Final Fantasy is in that number 2 slot. I do think Final Fantasy fans are more likely to actually go on the Game Awards and vote. Just because FPS fans in general, like, aren't really the type to necessarily care about this kind of thing as much as RPG fans. I mean, Destiny definitely is heavily an RPG, but there is a lot of people that play Destiny just because it's a shooter as well. Which is what, I mean, of course, right, like, that's why I think it should win, because I think that that's such a unique blend that no one else has been able to perfect, and that's a first-person shooter as a live service MMO. And I think that, I don't know, it's just the gameplay variety in Destiny is crazy to me, right? Like, it can be the easiest game ever if you just play strikes and like your weekly stuff, right? You just do your strikes and your story or whatever. It can be so easy. Or you can go in deep and do grandmasters and raids and dungeons, and suddenly it's actually one of the toughest games you can play out there. Especially because like raids, you know, like, okay, think about raid mechanics without a guide, right? Like, that is going to stump people for hours and hours and hours.
It's no tutorial at all.
Yep.
And I do like that, but I also like the one thing I like / dislike about Destiny is, like, I mean, I know it's a grind, right? And that's part of, I mean, it's an RPG. Like, there's always a grind for better gear. That's the whole point of an RPG. You just work your character and level him up as he goes.
Yep.
So even if you're not, like, even the people that have played, like, non-stop, like, the streamers and the YouTubers and all this stuff, even they are still searching for, like, perfect rolls or perfect armor rolls or, you know. I mean, I know it's not, like, everything because they have it, right? I mean, they get paid to play the game. But, like, for us, even if we're not, like, the most... I mean, because we play a lot, but, like, I still feel like we're pretty casual about, like, how much we actually play and grind the game.
Yeah, we kind of have to be.
Like, it's just been in the past, like, recent couple of seasons that we actually have, like, good weapons and rolls. Like, we might have had some, like, good rolls and stuff, but, like... we know now how to get, like, we're doing consistent raids, so it's not like we did one Vaulted class run, and we might have got, like, a Fate Bringer with, I don't know, I can't even think what the worst roll would
Some
be
crappy
possible.
perk.
Like,
Yeah.
but you get stuck with that, right? And we may never do another VOG run for, like, 3 seasons. Or, I mean, just an example, like...
No, I totally get what you're saying.
But, like... I don't know, not everybody does raids, because it's still a pretty small percentage of the community that actually raids or has completed the raids.
Oh yeah, very small.
But, like, there's a lot to do. And the game is hard, and there's so much to grind for. Especially, like Danny, right? He really started playing last season. And even then, he really started playing this season, actually grinding stuff out.
Yep.
And he still does not have, like, good, like, loadouts. Like, Tyler, he may not do all this stuff, but, like, I've seen him on. He's been doing VOG runs and all kinds of stuff, like, all the time. And he still does not have the best DPS weapons and stuff.
Because you gotta get that, yeah. And then that creates
part of it's a grind, but that's the one part of the grind I guess I kind of like.
And I think that you just brought up something that actually makes a
Nothing.
bit...
Jacob was just going to ask if I was going to be home because he wanted to play a game or so.
It brings up kind of an issue of, I think, maybe why some people that put in a lot of hours into the game are feeling burnout. And that's crafting. I actually, like... If crafting were done differently, it could be really good. But a lot of people are saying, oh, crafting sort of kills the chase of the game because you get the crafted version and then you don't ever have to look for a roll again. And I get that, but I think what those content creators aren't considering is what people with full-time jobs are looking at, right? Because me personally, right, and I mean, and you know, you see on the channel, we play quite a bit of Destiny. I don't think I have a single crafted weapon in my inventory that's above level 30, which means that doesn't have all the perks on it.
At level 30, I have like 12 crafted weapons just because I've done the quests and stuff.
Exactly, and so that leads me to the point of, like, I actually think crafting is an overall good thing for the game because people who don't have the time to get that god roll, they finally can if they just grind out one crafted weapon that they want. The problem is the people who are playing like 100 hours a week are essentially getting every crafted weapon, and then when we get to the end of the season, they don't have anything left to do.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you gotta remember
I have
these
one at
people have
48.
3 characters.
You got one at
Yeah, but
48.
you got your Amit, and you've been using that, like, pretty, like, you always use your
I mean, I've used it the entire season, basically.
Right.
Right.
Right, and that's one weapon. That's
The
one
problem
weapon.
The main problem with crafting I see, it's not necessarily the gun grind, because if you really want to get it done, you can go to the Last Wish raid and do that checkpoint. But the grind is getting 5 red border weapons. That's the grind, because then you get weapons that are red border that you can't craft. You get weapons that are craftable, but they don't have the red border, so that weapon didn't matter. And it's like, well, everything I just farmed for didn't matter because I only wanted that red border weapon. It just, if they wanted to at least ease it a little bit more, they would drop the red border weapon requirement, I think.
Yeah, I think 3 seems fair. I mean, or better yet.
Yes and no, but you gotta remember that, like, people that do this, they are, I mean, I know, like, the RNG weapons, right? Like, that's hard to get the crafted versions of, for the most part. But, like, you can get those over time, and people are playing on 3 different characters every single week doing stuff. So, they're getting 3 red borders a week.
I know, but do you make this system for people playing that much, or do you make the system for the majority of your audience?
I think they don't. They make it for those people because those are the people that promote the games to other people. Thereby, I mean, you know, making more people.
I know, but my whole argument is if you make it easier for those people, effectively making it easier, they're going to promote it even more because they're going to be like, well, you can grind this really faster now.
Yeah, but like, and I get it. Like, it's cool. Like, I can do Vow on 3 different characters, and I mean, over what? There's like 6 different weapons or something. So you have 5 for each, so 30. So I mean, theoretically, 10 weeks you have all of the weapons or crafted.
I think
or something like that.
If you ask me, I like what I would do with crafting is to keep the looter shooter element of the game alive. I would make a certain list of weapons that are only craftable. That is, you do some kind of quest or whatever, you get a frame and you craft that weapon, and it is only made through crafting. And then you have a whole nother set of weapons like raid weapons. If you ask me, this is just my opinion, it's a bit of a hot take, people may not like it, that's fine. I don't think raid weapons should be craftable. I think raid weapons, stuff like that, you should have to do you should be chasing that perfect roll to keep players engaged, right? Like, why did we have so much problem getting an LFG tonight? Well, not a great example because VOG doesn't have craftable weapons anyway, but this late in the season, you have trouble finding LFGs, and some people rely on LFGs because guess what? No need to do King's Fall. They've already got all 6 crafted weapons, so they don't care about the rolls.
Well, it's like even some of the craftable weapons aren't worth crafting. Like, in my opinion, most of the King's Fall weapons, other than like Zolly's Bane, you don't really need. So it's like, what's the point of me doing it?
Yeah, and that's why I think it was better when stuff like that was locked behind random rolls, right? Because it gave you a reason to come back. It's kind of like the raid exotic thing. Do I hate that I haven't got Touch of Malice all season? Yes, but guess what? Not having Touch of Malice all season has guaranteed that I'm going to complete that raid every week.
Yeah, that's the only grind that I have to go for is armor stats and exotic chances from raids.
And I think that the game needs to keep that chase alive. Oh, sorry, Nate. Yeah, I think that game absolutely needs to keep that chase alive. Because, I mean, it's a looter shooter at the end of the day. Like, that's what we're here for. We're here for loot. And it's just like...
Yes, but hear me out. I get, like, we want the grind and stuff, but it also gives, like, me an incentive to know that if I do the raid, I'm guaranteed one thing that I want.
That's a good point.
Because, like, I mean, if you... Not as much in the older raids, but, I mean, if you're raiding constantly, you'll have enough spoils to buy one thing a week.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
But, like, if you do King's Fall or something, right, and you get all the secret chests, I think you get 20 spoils just for beating all the encounters.
Well, you also have the red border chest you can get every week.
Yeah, right. And so you're going to get guaranteed red border weapon. Plus, you can buy one from the in chest. You can also buy the armor again. And so, like, I don't know, like, I like that. I can buy the crafted version because I don't like the crafting system as much. I like the perk ways. I love being able to, like, theory craft my stuff, but because, like, I do like that. So, like, D1, my biggest problem with it, I mean, there were a lot of things that weren't, like, the best, but I never got good rolls on anything. Ever. So it was a constant, like, unless something just, you know, an exotic, I never had good rolls. Because I just didn't get to play as much. And even when I did, like, the drop rates of weapons and stuff, like, legendaries were actually hard to get back then. Even, like, late in Destiny 2.
It is protection. It is protection against bad RNG, that's for sure. And I think that is a good thing.
But you also can, like, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the best roll. So I kind of like getting to grind it up and stuff. Like, I know it is a grind, but I know people don't treat the game like it's kind of was made. Because you have to think of it how Bungie designs it, right? They make it to where you do these things, you get this weapon, and you're just casually grinding the weapon, right? Like, they know everybody has 3 characters, right? And, I mean, in their thoughts, it's a hunter, a warlock, and a titan. May not be. Some people, like us, just play one character.
Most people do play 3 characters.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what's the stats of people that actually play
most people legitimately play 3 characters. That's not even I don't even have to think about that.
And so, like, I mean, and I get that the game is made that way. So, like, they do it that way, right? They make the game. Or they make these new systems. So, they know you're going to be getting 3 red borders a week. I mean, not really, because unless you just have stockpiled spoils, I mean, you have to do all of the raids and all 3 characters to
maybe that's
get
the problem with the system. We need more spoils.
Spoils is tough, but also, like, I don't want it to necessarily be easier to get the red border stuff, but, like, I've still don't have a forbearance, and we've done VOG, like, we've done Val, like, 5 times or something.
Yeah, this season.
I mean, granted, I got it the first time. I didn't get it the first time I did it, so I had to do it again. So I'm on, like, my 4th forbearance, and I didn't do it this week because I didn't have time. But, like, they make it to where you can actually get these guns casually for the most part.
Yeah, I do
like,
think that's
it may take
good.
you playing more than once a week or so. I mean, like, occasionally, but, like, I can hop on and spend 4 hours a week, and we do a raid or 2, and I know I can get another crafted version of the gun or red bordered weapon that I want.
And
it's like, that's cool that I can casually play. I don't have to sit here and grind for hours and hours on end to get part of a quest done or to get a roll of the weapon. Like, I know that I can, as a casual player, play, and after a couple weeks, I can get the gun that I want and then level it up to get the roll that I want and just have it. Like, that's been great for me, because, like, the typing and stuff, like, I have that Amit that you get from the quests, and I have that typing that you get from the quest.
that typing is great.
Right. And so, like, the weapons are really good. But, like, I know how I can use them, and I know how I can get them. And I know that, like, now I can use them and have this roll forever. Unless they end up, like, adding new perks or something. Which would be cool. I think that, like, they should just continuously add perks and do stuff to where you can craft them with new things. Because, like, even if, like, legendary, like, weapons overpowered or whatever, who cares? Like, it's cool. If I grind and get my Amit to level 99 or whatever, power to me. Let me do it.
Yo, I agree, and I also, and that brings up the question in relation to the Game Awards. We've talked a lot about weapon crafting, which brings me to the Witch Queen, because it was a new feature in the Witch Queen. Do we think weapon crafting, the addition of the legendary campaign, which I gotta say, legendary campaign was a stroke of genius. I'm so glad that's in the game now. Vow the Disciple raid.
The upgrade modules.
Vow the Disciple raid, Duality Dungeon, and King's Fall reprised raid, and whatever dungeon we're gonna get next season. Do we think that that is enough to make Destiny best ongoing game? In my opinion, it may not win the vote, but in my opinion, yes. I think that is a horde of quality content that we've got this year.
I mean, I agree with that. I think the main thing is that people don't. I don't know. I feel like Destiny's been bashed on so much that people just don't. People don't like see it as a game that people play anymore.
Yeah, they don't give it a shot.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Even though the numbers are always high at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like people don't. Oh, it just like I'll mention like my girlfriend's siblings. They'll be like, "Oh, you have a computer or whatever. What do you play?" And like we'll talk about it or something, and they're like, "What even is that?"
Right.
Because
right.
it doesn't. It's not something that people know. They're like, "Why don't we play Overwatch or Fortnite or something like that?" And I'm like, I don't know. It's not got that like younger person
Of course
appeal.
not. Because we've got that. I mean, think about how hard Destiny is to digest. Like, if you want to get into the good content, and I'm okay with that. I like a sweaty experience, but if you want to get into good content, can you imagine throwing somebody who just plays Fortnite into King's Fall? Like, they would have no clue what is going on.
I'll tell you one thing that I think will probably hurt Destiny's chances is not a lot of people were playing. Like, right when Witch Queen came out, after it was over, a lot of people stopped playing.
Because Elden Ring, Elden Ring came out the same
And when
week.
King's Fall came, people picked it back up again. So it's like there's like a whole dead period that's didn't have a whole lot going on.
Yeah, King's Fall definitely brought back the boys, that's for sure. Okay, that being said, Nate, I also think that while I would vote for it and did proudly vote for it, I think it's probably unlikely to take that category. But do we think they have a better chance at community support? Now, remember, this is not best community. This is community support. Basically, how much does Bungie as a company support the community? And before we get into the criticisms, I do also want to put something that is very positive on their side. One, they put up with a lot of negativity. I think they take constructive criticism really well. They never smart off. They take it in. They absorb it. And number two, like my Raid Ring kind of thing that I did my unboxing video on, those kind of things, the real life rewards that you can earn from completing objectives in game, it may not seem like a lot to most people, but to someone who really treasures like heirlooms like that I'm going to look at that object and remember all the fun we had together as a clan, it's like there is literally no other game that does that, to my knowledge. Not that I've ever played. It's kind of unbelievable. And I know you have to pay for it, but you can't unlock it until you complete that objective. And I just think that is really, really, really cool. And I mean, that to me, that is community support in a way, because especially because purchases from the Bungie Foundation do go to charity anyway, or at least primarily they go to charity. So I do think they care, and I do think overall they are look, right, a game like Destiny that's had as many ups and downs as it's had over the years, it doesn't last 8 years without a good community support. That's just a fact. And I do think it has a good shot at this category.
What was its others going against it?
Apex, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
I mean, No Man's Sky is not gonna win it.
No. They straight up lied to their fan base on launch.
Yeah, but that's been several years ago.
That has, yeah. Maybe they've really turned it around. I think
it did, but like even still, like I don't know. I've literally not heard anyone speak about the game.
I looked into it, and Destiny has actually won this award before at the Game Awards, by the way. They actually won this award, the Year of Forsaken, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they also have a chance because, like, I feel like the Destiny community, for the most part, I mean, most people that play Destiny and not very many other games.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they may play other games, but not, like, consistently. Like,
it takes
me
a lot of
and
your
Nate might
time.
hop on Apex or something like that, like, if no one plays Destiny or anything. But, like, since we played Destiny, like, I mean, I don't know about Nate, but, like, I've literally played Elden Ring a couple times. And part of it's I'm busy, but, like, I played Elden Ring a couple times. I still haven't beat Digimon Survive, and I think I played.
I mean, when I play games
Kingdom
mainly,
Hearts
I do it to play with you guys, and we're playing Destiny. I mean, that's another thing that I think is something that can be said. It is one of those games where you and a bunch of buddies and friends can just all hop on and play, where I feel like a lot of games nowadays is missing that quality.
Yep, I totally agree. And nothing builds community like literally building a clan and doing raids together, right? Like, playing, for example, playing against your friends in competitive games can lead to, funny moments, but also some toxicity. In Destiny, when we're playing together, we're primarily working together to defeat this insanely complicated, raid encounter or dungeon that is like, it's memorable, especially the first time you do it. It's very memorable, and it's an experience that I don't get anywhere else. I mean, and to your point, Jacob, yeah, I mean, I've basically just had to balance Monster Hunter and Destiny as the only two games I really have time to play anymore. I mean, I'll pull out a retro game here and there, but those don't take very long.
Yeah, and you have to remember, like, we have a very overly what's the word I'm trying to think?
Saturated.
Overly consuming, like, just population.
Oh yeah.
Like, when they get something, like a Netflix show or whatever you say it is, comes out, we binge watch it. Like, we take content, and when we have something that we like, we finish it, right? So, like, I think that's part of why people don't. I think that's one of the better things about games like Destiny and bigger games with lots of content. Like, if you keep up with the game and you play every single season and you stay up to date, there may not be as much for you to do. But, like, for me, I mean, like, I've missed a bunch of the seasons. I've missed a ton of seasons. And still, I mean, not a ton, but, I don't play the full season. Sometimes I don't meet all of the things. But there's a ton to do. Always. Like, I feel like, I mean, like, even if there's I do everything in the season, I still feel like we haven't done Master Val. We haven't done Master Vogue all the way.
Yep.
I know most people that play this game, like, are in competitive clans or do stuff like that all the time. Like, they may have all of this stuff done, but that's why that they don't like it. Because they consume everything that they see so fast, and their goal is, like, it's like the raid teams, right? Like the world's first raids, right? They try and save up and do all of this stuff to get high enough light on the first day of raid, which
Yep.
is fine. Like, I think that's awesome. But those are the same people, like Glad and all those people that, like, Team Redeem or whatever it is, that gets, like, world first like 4 times or whatever. Like, they grind their hind ends off to do that. And they consume content, but they complain about there not being enough content.
Yeah, if I
They do
exactly,
it all, like, in the first 4 days.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I completely agree with what you're saying.
That's not even a YouTuber thing. Like, I'm just saying people in general that complain about the game not having content are the same people that have every single title as soon as it's open.
Yep.
Have every masterwork crafted god roll weapon, perfect triple 100, quadruple 100 stats on all their characters.
I've tried explaining this in the past.
Flawlesses and all this stuff, but, like, that's not the casual player base. People don't do that. So like when they say there's no content, people don't want to come play because they really do think there's no content.
Because
You get a new player on Destiny 2, dude.
ton. They
It's
could
probably
never.
easy to like speed level your way up, but if you are actually doing all of the content,
Overwhelming to
there's
get through.
like, you gotta remember, there's like 6 years worth of D2 content to play through. Not
Yeah.
that much. It's like what, 2017?
2017 to now, basically.
5 years.
Yeah, but of course there are a few expansions sunset, but not a lot.
Yeah, but there's still little quest lines even
Oh yeah,
that make up for those.
and I wanted to mention something, but Jacob, totally based on what you're saying. And again, we're not trying to like, if that's your opinion, still the game doesn't have enough content. That's fine. I know that you're somebody that, if you're somebody who plays a lot of time, though, I do ask you to reflect a little, because like for example, right? Think about the value that you get out of modern video games compared to other forms of entertainment, right? And then, so I'm gonna make that comparison in just a second. And following that, I'm gonna make a comparison of modern video game compared to specifically Destiny. Okay? So here's my comparison, right? Let's say you and one other person are going on a date to watch a movie, right? I know it's different. I understand it's a different form of media. I love movies.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like the Batman, amazing movie this year. Loved it. I would go see it 1,000,000 times. But the thing is, you go to a movie, and not even counting concessions, which you're probably going to buy, you're looking at least $25 to $30 just for two people. Okay? For 2 to 3 hours of entertainment at most. Most movies are like an hour and a half. All right? You buy a game like Elden Ring, right? Or let's say God of War as an example. Most people, even with all the side quest content, are getting through God of War Ragnarok in no more than 45 hours at the most. That's if you're doing everything, from what I've seen. Now, if I'm wrong on that, correct me, but that's what I've heard on the podcast that I listen to. 45 hours, something like that. Could be a lot less if you golden line it. Probably less than 20 if you golden line it. And that's fine. It's a story-based game.
Elden Ring, I have more than 100 hours and I've not beat it.
And it's a story-based game, and that's fine with God of War. And yes, Elden Ring, you've got over 100. But the reality is, those games were both $60, right? If you combine my time with Destiny and Destiny 2, right? I have over 3,000 hours, and I'm not even in the top 1% of most played. 3,000 hours.
Let's see how much I have just on Steam.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
that.
I'm going to look on Steam
Just
right now.
on Steam.
'Cause this is
I
a
have
good-
1,900 hours.
1,900 hours just on Steam. Jacob used to be a PlayStation player in D1. And so...
So think about like, and I mean, granted, I did probably get like
I have
800
636.
hours
633.
during. I had probably 100 hours during 2020, and most of it was because of COVID.
But now that brings up...
Stuff because my job just wasn't there. Like, and we didn't do stuff. Like,
Right.
school was all online, or I was in a point where like all my classes I was taking were online. So like I had a ton of time, and really didn't use it well. I played way more than I need to. But I probably have. I think I looked it up at one point, and I had like. Hold on, wait. All right, everybody, go to the website.
Time wasted on Destiny.com? Yeah, that's what I got mine off of. I'm at a
I
combined
just
of
want to see the total.
well over 3,000. And while you're looking that up, Jacob, what it brings me to my point is that people say Destiny doesn't have content, right? Well, first of all, you gotta remember, no game is gonna have infinite content because there's not infinite money. But if you buy the Destiny annual expansion plus season pass, you're looking at $100 a year. Okay? $100 a year, roughly the cost that I calculated to be 4 movies, or in other words, 8 to 10 hours of content, and you're getting potentially thousands of hours. It's insane. It's insane. That is so much entertainment.
Yeah, I have 3,400 hours on Destiny 2, and I have 1,700 on Destiny.
So 5,000. 5,000 for
almost, like almost 6,000 hours. I'll just even round it up. 6,000 hours, but that's been since what, 2013, 2014?
2014. Yep.
Like the beginning of 2014.
You guys are a
feel
bunch
it.
of no-lifers.
Yeah, so I spent a ton of time on it.
But
But
dude,
it was
like,
also like the fact that I only had 1,700 hours in Destiny 1 is ridiculous because I felt like I had so much more.
and that's
I
the,
only-
Wait. Sorry, wait.
636 for
wait.
D2.
This is not including my deleted characters. I have way more time. Oops.
yeah. See,
Alright,
it's
we won't talk about that.
and you're not gonna touch. You are not gonna touch value like that. I'm sorry, you're not gonna touch
So
value
let's
like
look
that
up-
with Fortnite.
Let's look up. I'm looking up somebody like Glad. I don't know what his actual name is.
You won't know his Bungie numbers, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but so
Glad hashtag
just to be a devil's
2640.
advocate a little bit
I am, but he is in
for
the
your
top
value of
1%.
content. It is kind of repeatable content.
But the top 1%
It is. It is sometimes.
6,500 hours.
That's
Most
insane.
played is somebody with 26,000 hours.
But I also think you have to be in a mindset where you're actually looking at the game objectively. Like, for example, right? You guys know I'm a Monster Hunter fanboy. Not a Monster Hunter the series fanboy. I never liked the series until Rise. I'm a Monster Hunter Rise specifically fanboy. And here's what I'm saying about that. Right, I have over 700 hours in Monster Hunter Rise. I'm Hunter level 999, right? Over a couple weeks ago, I really put my nose down to grind this one quest that came out, this event quest that really was optimal for leveling up HR, and I cranked out like my last 100 levels in a week, which is, just so everyone knows, it takes, when you get to the upper levels, leveling your HR is very slow, so that was a lot of hours and a lot of grind. I probably did that quest like almost 300 times. So, that said, right, that was my choice because I cared about leveling up to HR 999 that I did that 300 times. And I understood that. And so I didn't somehow, what a lot of people I see online that essentially are doing with Destiny these days is it's like, oh, I'm burnt out because I did this 100 times, whatever. It's like, dude, right? I chose to kill that monster 300 times because I cared about leveling up my character as fast as possible rather than playing the game a healthy amount. But like, I think if you're somebody who is playing Destiny, especially for a career, no offense, you got to remember not everyone's doing that. Like,
Exactly. So you shouldn't be complaining.
yeah, you're not the people who should be complaining about content. I would start getting worried about the game if the average Joe Blow, well, I mean, honestly, if someone like me or someone like you guys who have 8-hour jobs, me and Nate, we have wives, families to Jacob, you have your own things that you got to take care of. Your job's extremely demanding with crazy hours. You're working in the, well, I won't say where you work.
It's just because of nursing school. Let's be real. It's not
Yeah,
hard.
but
It's not-
I'm just gonna do it again. I'm gonna be devil's advocate again. But I mean, we have slowed down these last couple weeks.
We have. Most of that, though,
Sure.
is due to some of our...
But, I mean, most of it's because we don't have people on to do all the raids and stuff.
Nah, I wouldn't say most of it. I mean, I was getting on by myself without you guys to
I
grab
wasn't.
weapons, to grab
I was
gear,
not. I was
to
not.
do all kinds of stuff.
Me personally, that's good, Nate, that you're able to do that. Me personally, the way that my sort of routine is set up, I am only actually choosing
I
to...
know that's fine, but I mean, we
Right.
can't go by your routine. We're talking about the general public.
what I'm saying is, and I'm not, maybe not the general everyone, but I think, like, even though I don't have kids, I think, like, a father or mother who plays Destiny and has kids is probably going to get to play a similar amount to what I do, which is at night after you get off work, after everyone's went to sleep, and you have some time to play with your buddies. Like, I don't think that person is getting burnt out. I don't see how you
No.
could.
Well, I mean, like,
Well,
you
that
play
may be,
just a
but
little bit.
I think like maybe the argument is like if you play every week and you put like say 5 hours every weekend, I think you do catch up with the content of the season. I think that's the main complaint.
Right. And that's fair. I think that's true. We did also used to not even
Like,
have...
You should theoretically, if you play enough, catch up on the season content. Like, it may not be.
I know that's fine to catch up on it. I think people are just complaining that they don't want to catch up on it, or they would like to have maybe a mission every week to go into the next season.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, and I think it should be because it used to be like that, did it not?
No, because they've never been able to extend the story all the way out because the story involves actual
Because
narrative.
there's been like just 1 or 2 weeks in between. But I don't think there's been like all the way to the next season.
Most of the time, especially if it's a season with a raid that comes out, there's only 7 to 8 weeks worth of story. The quests are never more than like 50 to 60 steps. Even in Season of the Lost, we had to wait all the way from like freaking September all the way till next February because Witch Queen got delayed. And even that season was only like a 70-step quest. It was over.
I remember that was a long dead period.
And we played a lot that season.
When was it?
Season of the Lost. It was the season before Witch Queen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I played a bunch when you guys weren't playing when Beyond Light came out.
I played with you some.
I did not.
Yeah, but I mean,
did
like for
not.
the most part, like we didn't.
Yeah, you played
We
with
had
yourself.
like no one. So I mean, I had my own little clan and stuff, and was playing with them. But even then, like I played all of the time, and the only thing that kept me going was because like it was a time in PvP when it was the meta. I was able to play like my play style, and that was the meta. And so I had a ton of fun doing that because it was literally shotgun hand cannon or hand cannon sniper was the best thing. And I just played on Hunter all the time. Not that that makes any difference, but like I played a ton, and that was the only thing that kept me going was playing PvP. But now I don't enjoy PvP as much, and so like I know that's a part of the game, but most people either play one or the other. Not everyone plays. I mean, take our clan for example, right? Most of us don't play both.
Yep, not a lot
We
anyway.
don't. I mean, like, but
Yeah,
we don't
but I mean,
consistently
I
play.
mean, we can say that, but still, it's like I understand raids and stuff bring people back, but like PvP is always there for especially casual players. Which
Exactly.
I mean,
But I'm saying,
Bungie's
like,
not
people
doing very
don't
good
play.
right now with like their matchmaking and
I think we have to see how the competitive
Balances.
changes land next
yeah,
year.
and balances.
Let's
But I
see.
definitely think Crucible PvP is always a staple of like most any modern gaming great.
Well, exactly. And some people come to this
multiplayer-wise-
game and only play that.
Yes, so I think like in order for Destiny to survive in the long run, it needs a good PvP. It's what brings different people around. Like I know, like Fallout plays like he was a PvP guy, and then he ran out of stuff to do. I mean, same with Aztecross. He was a PvP guy, ran out of stuff to do, and PvP they jumped into PvE. So if anything, PvP I think brings people to play more PvE content too, because you can grind for good gear from
Yeah,
both
because
sides.
the gear is what makes it better too.
Yeah.
I hope the competitive changes land good next season with the new rank system. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it because I know a lot of other shows have already talked about that because we were a week late on it. But I think on paper it looks like a good change. At least it shows that they're doing something for PvP.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see. I don't know if I have opinion.
So we're getting, let me check the time real quick. We're getting pretty long into the show. It's been a great show so far. I do want to go through here and get back on the Game of the Year topic and just kind of rapid fire some of these categories and just see, like, initially, on first instinct, what you guys think is going to win out of that. So for Best Action Game, which, by the way, I will say Call of Duty being in this category to me is weird because I don't really think of a first-person shooter as a... I feel like it should be its own category. But anyway, Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, which is a really cool martial arts game, and TMNT Shredder's Revenge. What do you guys think?
I have no idea.
Personally, I really like Shredder's Revenge. From what I've seen, it's very like classic arcade Ninja Turtle style, and I love the arcade Ninja Turtles games.
I think Sifu's gonna win.
You think Katie thinks Sifu's gonna win. Sifu is really cool. It's got a really cool art direction.
Do you know the concept of it?
Yeah, it's all martial arts based.
Well, you ate.
Oh, you age when you die, right? It's like a roguelike, yeah.
What's the game? Or what's the
The category?
Yeah.
Best action game.
Wow. Why would God of War not be in that game?
I guess because it's in best role playing game.
Oh.
It's also in best narrative. Oh wait, no.
But I
Here,
can see that because it's always a really good story-based game.
here's God of War. It's not in role playing. It's in best action adventure, where we have A Plague Tale: Requiem, God of War, Horizon, Stray, and Tunic.
That'll probably be God of War.
Yeah, probably so. Role playing game. We got Elden Ring, probably guaranteed to win it, but we also have Live a Live, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade 3.
Probably Elden.
That's kind of a shame too. Like I'm gonna be rooting for Elden Ring there, but Xenoblade really deserves to win that category specifically as a role-playing game. Best fighting game. I don't really recognize any of these other than King of Fighters. It's kind of weird that Sifu's in here. It's not a traditional fighting game. It's a single-player game, but. Best family game. We have Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars, Mario Rabbids, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3. Do you guys have any thoughts on any of those? Did you try any of those out?
Lego got really bad reviews.
Yeah, I did not like the Lego Star Wars remake.
Yeah, I heard everyone was kind of disappointed in it.
Yep. Very, very weird.
I think Splatoon's gonna take it.
Splatoon, I think Splatoon has a good shot at taking that one, yeah. I thought Kirby was really good, too. Don't know much about this one. There was one other one I really wanted to hit on. Yeah, here it is. Most anticipated game of 2023. So I want to know you guys' answer on this, even if it's one that's not mentioned. So we already know what mine is. I'm a fanboy, and that's Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. But we also have Tears of the Kingdom is nominated, Starfield, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, and Final Fantasy 16.
Starfield.
I don't know, man.
It's Skyrim in space.
Bethesda's not in good standing with the
I
general
don't care.
public.
It's Skyrim in space.
I'm sure there'll be glitches in space, too. No offense.
I mean, the Zelda thing is cool. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, Zelda's cool. But I'm actually excited for... And I don't love Harry Potter, but I think the Hogwarts Legacy thing is pretty cool.
It is a cool concept, absolutely.
Just because it's not been done before. When is the last time you heard of, like, besides the Lego game, an actual Harry Potter game?
Especially an RPG.
When's Jedi Last Survivor coming out?
That comes out in 2023 as well. It's just not on here.
I think I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, that is gonna be good.
Not on the awards.
Yeah, my vote is definitely for Zelda, but we all knew that. They make us wait freaking 6 years every year, so. Between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild was 6 years, and now between this one and Breath of the Wild was 6 years. So. It's been a while.
I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, to me, like, there doesn't seem like it'll be a lot of games right now that I'm interested in for next year. I like I said, I like the Star Wars game. I think I'll be excited for that, but I don't know.
I think the Star Wars game would be cool. I honestly, like, it's actually pretty intimidating to try to, I mean, it's just overwhelming amount of games that come out. Like, I have trouble keeping up with or, like, watching all the stuff about them. So, like, the God of War games and stuff, would I like to play them? Yeah. But I don't have... First off, I don't have a PlayStation. Second off, I don't know. I feel like I know it's a new story every time, but can it really? I mean, is it a lot different from the last one, or is it a lot like that?
Gameplay wise, it looks like similar but a lot smoother.
Because the last game everyone really liked.
Yeah,
I
it won
think
Game of
that's
the Year
cool.
in 2018.
I'm gonna throw out an underrated. I know it won some awards the year it came out, but the Spider-Man remastered game.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised that's not on here for most
'Cause
anticipated game.
I mean, I know it came out a while ago and they just remastered it. Fantastic game. And the Miles Morales one, I haven't played it yet, but
Well, you know where
I mean,
you're getting.
that game. I mean, you swing on webs and explore. Like, what better thing could you want?
You're getting the actual Spider-Man 2 next year too, Jacob.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's what I'm surprised isn't on this list. But I mean we're looking at hot competition there. I mean Final Fantasy 16 that has a very dedicated fan base.
I mean, Zelda's gonna win it.
Yeah, I do still think Zelda will win this category. I mean it's like just gaming legend at that point.
Yeah, and also another game I was thinking of. I mean, the new Resident Evil that's coming out. I mean, remake that's coming out next year. People love those games.
Yeah, because 4 is really popular. Everybody simps over Leon Kennedy. How could you not?
Was the newest Horizon game not?
It was nominated for Game of the Year.
Was it?
Yep. 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 And they're
Oh,
getting
those
screwed
games are
again.
really
In
good.
2017, it went against Breath of the Wild, and in this year, it's going against Elden Ring and God of War.
Unfortunately, it came out the same month as Elden Ring.
Yeah, same month as Elden Ring. Which, like, February was nuts this year. For Horizon, Elden Ring, and Witch Queen all came out like the same freaking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so last thing I want to mention is it's not really related to the Game Awards necessarily because there's not a most anticipated expansion. But how hyped are you guys for Lightfall? I think it's going to be a great expansion with a great new destination.
I'm excited for Poise.
I'm hoping it changes the game. Like it's gonna be like almost like Forsaken levels. That's what I'm kind of expecting, hoping, because it's gonna be that whole new area. And what are they called? They're not called Striders.
Cloud Striders. Cloud
Yeah,
Striders.
Cloud Striders. I think it's gonna be a whole new dynamic. I think hopefully it'll be like Forsaken or King's Fall again. Like it'll be something that just revitalizes the game.
Yeah, I
I'm
totally agree
excited
with you.
for a brand new expansion. Like, Witch Queen was I mean, I know it was a new expansion, right? And we got like some 3.0 subclasses like throughout this time. And that was cool. But like, I don't know. Witch Queen, I felt like we knew what
It
was
was
going
kinda
to happen
mediocre.
for the most part though.
It's very
Because we knew
mediocre.
Savathun was going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, we did get the big
Like,
reveal of the Witness.
We already knew that. I mean, like, there was some plot twists and stuff to an extent, but like, really,
I mean,
it
the
wasn't like anything
biggest-
special to me.
The biggest thing to happen this year was the reveal of the Witness. We finally know who the voice in the dark is.
Yes, and so that is cool. I'm glad we're getting more like backstory stuff, but it wasn't really like I don't know. This season didn't like this expansion didn't like blow my mind. I'm hoping that Beyond Light does, or Lightfall, sorry. I'm hoping that Lightfall just does that.
Me too.
Like,
And for me,
regardless of the new subclass, I'm ready for something that will just change everything.
I think that new destination
Like
is
the
going
way
to do
that
it.
we look at stuff, there's a new destination, and I'm hoping that it's not just some weird little activity and like some bad seasonal content thing. Like, I know we can't have perfect stuff all the time, but let's be real. Did any of us grind out the Altars of Reflection or whatever the seasonal content thing was for Witch Queen?
No.
Or Wellspring now.
Yeah, Wellspring.
No.
Attack and defend. Like, did any of us actually grind that out? I've
Like
maybe
5
done
times
it
and then
twice.
stopped.
And
Right.
what my point about the destination is going to be, Jacob, is I think that Witch Queen's destination it was cool. Don't get me wrong, the art design was cool, but the aesthetic of the new city we're getting, Neo Muna, like it's unlike anything we've seen in Destiny.
It's like a sci-fi again.
Yeah,
That's the thing. It's sci-fi again.
It's sci-fi and it's new. It's not damaged, and I think that destination alone is going to make me be more likely to grind out seasonal content because I want to be in that. I want to be in that city.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brand new. It's not like that's the problem with Destiny 2 has had so far. A lot of its environments are like from D1 or we've been there before,
Yeah.
and it's like I already know what I'm expecting here.
That's
Like
fair.
this thing is like brand new. Like when King's Fall came out and we got on Orcs' ship, we had never seen anything like that, and we're like, "Well, this is cool."
That's true. The Dreadnought was very unique, and I hope that
I mean,
this.
the throne world itself was kind of different, right? But like, I mean, the Hive. I thought the Hive Guardians was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's a cool concept.
I mean, like, but that did. I don't know. Like, I just haven't had that like wow factor. Like raids and stuff, like new raids. I get more pumped and think that those are way cooler than any new like seasonal stuff. we
Oh
get.
yeah, totally.
So
Same.
like, even if it's a remastered one, but like I know we didn't do Vow for a while.
Because
But
Elden
when
Ring.
we did Vow, I was like, heck, this was for sure by far the best thing about Witch Queen.
Oh yeah, Val was the best part about Witch Queen, no doubt
I
about
mean,
it.
it's an awesome raid. Like it's probably my second favorite raid.
Can you believe we're gonna get to do a raid in that freaking newly lit neon city? Like that is gonna be the coolest thing, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that
That
the
is
raid
cool.
is gonna be a
But we
banger.
have the villains and stuff set up, like to where we know. I mean, to an extent, what we're gonna fight.
We're gonna get
Oh, like-
we're getting brand new enemies too. That's the
Yeah.
cool thing. Like I forgot what they called them. Like I almost want to say they were dominators or something like that.
It was something like that, subjugators or something like that.
Yeah, they're gonna
But
like
I'm
come
ready
out and
for
hunt
that.
us. That's gonna be cool.
I'm ready for that because like I'm tired of. I hate to sound picky and stuff like because I know like they can't just come up with brand new everything every single time that they do it, right? I mean, that'd be very hard to do for every season.
Yeah, a lot of
Stuff like that.
development
But
time.
like, I feel like once a year when they release these big expansions,
It should change everything up. Like it should
Yes.
turn it on top of its head. Basically.
yes, and like if it means we need to flip around like the Crucible weapon meta too, or whatever, like let's do it. I want like Mask of the Quiet One to be like the best Titan exotic. Like, I mean, just random stuff like that. Like, I think that'd be cool if they just gave, like, stuff that people didn't have purpose with, like old exotics and stuff. Let's just revamp them. Let's make them, like, crazy. I don't care if they are the best DPS weapons or whatever. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome. You know
I
how
think
cool
they give
it'd be
a lot
to
of
walk in?
replayability. It's like
Yeah.
all kinds
You
of
know how
crazy
cool it'd be
builds.
to walk in and, like, Sleeper Simulant be the best DPS weapon again?
Absolutely,
Like, that'd be cool.
that would be
Or
amazing.
like them come out and be because like I know there's gonna be a ton of like a brand new weapon manufacturer sort of thing, like the Quicksilver Storm, like those kinds of weapons. That's gonna be awesome. And like there's some other guns that look similar to that. Like what's that weird scout rifle we got? The arc one. It shoots like the arc souls at people. Can't think of
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Symmetry.
Yes. And then the raid exotic from Vow. Like there's some like super cool like ruinous effigy and some of those cool like exotic quests and things we did. Like those would be awesome to have as like a whole brand new legendary weapon thing. Like I don't want to replace all the weapons we have now, but I think it'd be really cool if when we get a new season that everything from the new season is really good. I'm not saying like we have to sunset weapons and stuff like that, because I don't want that at all. But it would be cool if all of the new stuff, like, it makes you want it.
Right, to
Not
want
just
to
like-
want the new material.
Yeah, because, like, all the Throne World weapons, dude, I have not used any of them. Have you all?
No, I have not.
I crafted a couple of them for the quest or whatever, just to get, because you got 2 Ascendant Alloys for the quest. That was the only reason I did it.
I'm mostly using like all raid weapons and GM weapons.
Right, but, like, I want incentive to, when new content comes out, for it to just be great.
Oh yeah, it'd be great if like the like sort of ritual activity, like the Wellspring equivalent of the new expansion, had great weapons.
Exactly. Like, I think there's some different weapons that you can get in this, but, like, I really want this expansion to come out and them just, like, it just completely changed the way that like, the weapons I have and stuff, because, I mean, I switch up because I'm indecisive and I can't just stick to one weapon or whatever. I just can't do it. But I feel like the same, like, DPS loadouts and stuff have been the same thing for, like, years.
Yep.
Some sort of heavy weapon that's a linear fusion rifle or rocket launchers were a big thing for, like, burst DPS. But for the most part, I mean, we were all using, like, Sleeper Simulant or Whisper of the Worm for, like, forever. And Whisper of the Worm, let's be real, was just a linear fusion rifle with that, or with that, like, super enhanced triple tap.
Yeah, disguised as a sniper. Yeah.
Yeah, and because it hit like a linear, and it had like, such a long, like, delay between shots. But, like, I want some new stuff. I want there to be an machine gun, like Thunderlord. I really thought it was going to be like a big DPS weapon, and it is good, but I want machine guns to come back and, like, be crazy.
I agree with that. Yeah, LMGs. It would be awesome. I mean, maybe we'll get some cool new neon exotic from Neo Luma in the new city, and it'll just be
I want
crazy.
a raid boss that we can have all 6 fire team members go after with a sword.
Yes.
Like, close range. Like,
And that's,
let's use
like, the
shotguns,
ideal-
Let's use swords. Like, Rolk is a pretty cool thing, but let's be real, still the best strategy is Divinity and Linears.
Yep.
But,
Which
like,
we'll
wouldn't
see
it
what
be
happens
awesome to
after the
go
div
after
nerf.
with a sword?
The div nerf might change that a little bit. It's at least going to bring Hunter Tether back into the forefront.
I don't know. That's my opinion about Lightfall. I just want new stuff that makes me want to get new everything for the game. I don't want to make everything unusable, but I want there to be, like, motivation or a real reason that I should have the new gear.
Well said. I agree.
Not just like, hey, I've got my Taipan, my random SMG or Forbearance or whatever, you know, whatever energy weapon you're using, and then some combination of Arbalest or Wither Horde or a scout rifle or pulse rifle that just, you could just do the same. I mean, like, I feel like I use the same loadouts for raids.
Oh yeah, we just
Or like
slide.
DPS encounters. I mean, ad clear and stuff, like, we can always change that around, right? I also think it'd be cool if in the master modes of raids that we actually get champions that matter and you can't just melt instantly. Like, it'd be cool if they were actually a tough part of the raid.
Yeah, I agree. Like how they feel in GMs.
Yeah, because, like, we did Master King's Fall, and it was not harder than normal.
It really wasn't that different.
Yeah, we just team shot the hobgoblins at Oryx, and that was the only difference, really.
Well, we also
not at Oryx, at Daughters, and then we had to kill the
Hobgoblins
the
and
other
Oryx too.
dudes. Yeah.
So we do have one final thing. Not really going to be a discussion, but more just like letting you guys know that are watching as we wrap up this podcast. Content is going to be pretty thick next week, probably, because this week's going to be pretty slim. But then next week, in terms of Destiny content specifically, I will be uploading Monster Hunter stuff, I'm sure, throughout the week. But as for Destiny stuff, new season starts a week from tomorrow. Or if you're watching this in the morning, which you probably are, because there's only an hour left today in our time zone. So I'll just go ahead and say a week from today, a week from Tuesday, we get a brand new season. And then that Friday, we get a new dungeon. So how about Jacob, me, you, and Nate? Would you guys like to do the new dungeon that Friday when it launches?
When?
It'll be a week from this Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah. All right, you guys. Well, that has been the Spicy Ramen podcast for today. We tried to talk about the Game Awards with as much Destiny inlaid as possible, since it is a Destiny podcast. And I hope you guys found it enjoyable. And until next time, we're going to be rolling out.